I just wanted to take just a few moments, kind of just to remind us of why we are doing all of this. I mean, it's a great excuse, isn't it, to catch up with old friends, for new friends and old friends to get to know each other. It's a great opportunity to eat great food as well. Looking forward to that. But you know what? We're ultimately here to mark a moment of God's faithfulness. That's what we're here for. We're here to just remember the faithfulness of God. Throughout the Old Testament, we see moments where God instructs his people to build monuments, visible reminders of his faithfulness. We read one such time in Joshua chapter 4, an incredible moment where God miraculously cuts the flow of the flooded Jordan River and enables his people to cross over right into the promised land. An amazing moment of breakthrough. Let's just read that from verse 1 of Joshua 4. When the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, "Choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and command them, take up for yourselves 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan where the priests were standing. Carry them with you and set them down in the place where you spend the night." So Joshua summoned the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe. And he said to them, "Cross over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of Israel, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask, 'What do these stones mean to you?' you are to tell them, 'The waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters were cut off. Therefore, these stones will be a memorial to the Israelites forever.'" Just want to draw out a couple of points that I think are relevant to where we are at as a church today. I mean, firstly, they were entering a new chapter, a new season in their journey. No longer were they going to be wilderness wanderers. They were now called to take possession of the land God had given them. No longer relying just simply on handouts and manna, but actually, this was a land flowing with milk and honey. Come and work it. You need to fight for it. Come and take possession of the land. But to help them move forward into this next chapter, God told them to look back, remember his faithfulness. And I think as we look forward into, it's mad to say, into our third decade, as we enter our third decade, I believe God is calling us first, remember my miraculous provision. I mean, we're in this building. This is a visual reminder of God's provision. Remember those breakthroughs. Remember my presence is always with you. Remember that sense of the power of God that has led us over all these last 20 years. One commentator puts it like this: for a community to endure, it must be both a community of memory and of hope. Of memory and of hope. Of looking back to propel us forward. So, yeah, we primarily remember and celebrate the finished work of Jesus on the cross, the ultimate display of God's faithfulness, the ultimate display of his love. That is the foundation on which everything is built. The finished work of Jesus. But we also remember the countless times he continues to be faithful to us throughout the years. As Claire started, there are so many different stories in this room of breakthrough of God's faithfulness. It's this confidence as we look back that will propel us with greater faith. Confidence that he has brought us this far not to simply desert us. Not to simply take us back. Or as the Apostle Paul says, as he writes to the church in Philippi, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. I love it too how every tribe is represented here. No matter what size, the stone size didn't impact the size. It wasn't relative to the size of the tribe. No, every tribe, no matter how big or small, it was represented in this monument. It speaks to me just that this sense of we are all part of this ongoing story of God's faithfulness. Every single one of us. I mean, we'll be hearing from specific people over this morning. But the truth is there are literally hundreds of people who have played a part and are playing a part in this unfolding journey that we are on. I love the fact that we're increasingly becoming more diverse as a community as well. That is something to celebrate. You know, we're called to be a community, whatever your background, whatever your experience, that this is a place you can belong and you have a part to play. We are all on this journey together. So we look back to be propelled forward. Second little thing I just want to bring to mind is, you know, a key reason for this monument, we read in verse 6, was so that the next generation might remember and be encouraged. And we need to keep telling the next generation these stories of spiritual battles fought and won, of the challenges, but also of the breakthroughs. I mean, it stops us drifting into complacency, for one, doesn't it? It also stops us drifting away from absolute dependency on God. You know, these were no ordinary stones just picked from the side of the riverbank. These, God instructed them, take them from the very bottom of the bed of the river. This was, again, a miraculous visual reminder of the supernatural power of God. They couldn't have done that unless God had stepped in. And as we go into this next decade and as the next generation step up, we need to be those that are continually relying, not on sharp strategies and, you know, slick management. It's not really us anyway, is it? But on the power and presence of God. That is what we rely on. That is what we rely on. We are called to be a people of his presence. If you read a bit earlier, you'll notice that it's the priests carrying the very Ark of the Covenant, the very presence of God. They stepped first into this flooded river. You know, they had to say, God, you better do something, otherwise we're going to be swept away here. But it was the very presence of God leading the way. They were completely dependent on him. That's where we need to be. We never shall move from that. And we need to keep instructing, keep telling the next generation so they don't drift away from the firm foundations that we have been singing about and have been laid. You know, there's a reason we're called River Church. Rob reminded us just now of that prophetic picture that was given. One of the reasons we changed our name from Sutton Family Church to River Church, there were so many prophecies that came about us being this river of God's Spirit flowing in us and through us, and then those doors bursting out, and this river of his presence flowing out into the community. That is what we hold on to. That is the vision for this church. But it's as we are dependent on his presence, a people of his presence, as we continue to follow his leading, depending on him. Solomon wisely once said, unless the Lord builds the house, we labor in vain. So true, isn't it? So true. One of the ways we have been able to be a very practical blessing to our community is by partnering with so many different local churches in this borough. There is such a beautiful unity amongst so many churches in this borough. That is a legacy that's been forged, I know, through Pete and through relationships that have been forged, and it's just grown and developed and blossomed under the umbrella of Community Works. And Mark Tomlinson, who heads that up, again, would have loved to have been with us this morning, but he is joining us for lunch. It's a pattern here, isn't there? Nice to see where people's priorities lie. No. He has a legitimate excuse. But he sent us this video just to basically just wanted to say a few words. If we could play that as well, thank you.